Candice Lim.
And I'm Kate Lindsay, and you're listening to ICYMI.
In case you missed it.
Slate's podcast about internet culture. And Candice, my first thought when I got to the office today, and I have to imagine it was your first thought when you woke up 3 hours after me, is Katy Perry still in space?
Yeah. It's like those websites that are like, is it Christmas yet? And it says yes or no every time you visit. We need one for Katy Perry.
Or like there are those Twitter accounts that are like, has so-and-so died yet or whatever.
Definitely. Yeah.
For those who may have missed it, because it was that short, you could have missed it. Katy Perry, along with Gayle King, Aisha Bowe, Amanda Wynn, Carrie Ann Flynn, and Lauren Sanchez went to space on Monday morning as the Blue Origin rocket's first all-woman crew.
These are women in STEM, sexism fixed.
I know. We did it, everyone. This was all thanks to, as are many things, Jeff Bezos. This whole expedition was basically the space equivalent of the Titan submersible, though it went better. But it is a thing that is designed for quote-unquote space tourism. They weren't doing anything valuable or they weren't doing research. They were just going up and coming down. And it's the same thing every time the rocket takes off. It goes 62 miles above the Earth's surface, which is right where they can legally say they are in outer space. But then it comes right back down. It's over in 10 minutes. Which 10 minutes is crazy. I mean, there was all this press and anticipation for a day when actually Curious George was in space longer than Katy Perry ever was.
Yeah, I've been in the Chick-fil-A drive-thru longer than the space mission. I think my favorite part, if I'm allowed to have one, Gayle King, who we should know, Oprah Winfrey's best friend, anchor on CBS This Morning. The entire time I was like, why is she doing this? Why is she doing this? And you can, like, watch videos of her where at no point does she look like she's having fun. There's a bell that all of them have to ring. It's very Selling Sunset coded. And everyone just like, wee! And you see her so dejectedly walk up to it and just give it like a, And yeah. I sense that. But what is funny is that she was the source of a piece of crucial information after she landed. NPR reporting that, quote, Perry, who had hinted that she might sing on board, editor's note, I would replace hinted with threatened. Continuing. Yep. Entertained her crewmates with parts of Louis Armstrong's What a Wonderful World while the capsule floated in space. Why?
It's the parts of, too, that really gets me. Not a rendition, just parts of it. I mean, getting launched into space with Katy Perry while she sings Louis Armstrong at you, it feels like a sentence from a judge after you committed a crime. But here's the real question. Do you think she sang What a Wonderful World in her own voice, or was she doing an impression?
Oh.
It's very gravelly. It's very gravelly in its original. And I'm like, what do you think she opted for?
I mean, here's the thing. Like, you and I know what we think, but for legal reasons, we have to say she totally sang it in her own voice.
No way to know. There's just no way to know.
Yeah. It's just funny because of all the songs that I would sing if I were Katy Perry in space, I would have chosen Firework. I think that one's kind of inspiring, you know?
Right. I would have wanted my own songs. Like E.T. is one that she has that would have been like very
relevant.
I don't know. I would have done it differently, but I mean, I wouldn't have done it at all. But I don't mean to rag on just Katy because the whole thing is ridiculous. I think everyone made a ridiculous choice. But Katy was the one out of all of them giving the best quotes. She told AP News before the flight, quote, I'm really excited about the engineering of it all. I'm excited to learn more about STEM. And then her quote after she landed made even less sense, although she had technically, barely, just legally been in space. So we could forgive her for maybe being a little off. But she was like, actually someone asked like, oh, I heard you sang. And she's like, it's not about me singing. And then she goes, it's about making space for future women and taking up space and belonging. And it's about this wonderful world that we see right there and appreciating it. This is all for the benefit of Earth.
In what way, Katy Perry?
I don't understand how I get that they are women. I don't understand how them being in space benefits me and my womanhood and feminism kind of in any way.
Right.
And I also don't know how appreciating the world is spending a whole lot of money and emissions and working for a billionaire to go to space for no reason. I just who is it for? Just say you wanted to go to space and leave it at that. But speaking of women being launched into situations they can't control, first off, are you proud of that segue, Candice?
I'm so proud of you. You are a woman in STEM, Kate.
Yes, that is STEM right there. But speaking of that, Today we're going to talk about Remi Bader and the reactions to her weight loss surgery. If you've been anywhere on TikTok these past few weeks, you'll probably have come across this discourse. We're going to dive into exactly what happened, but first, let's take a break. When we come back, we'll catch you up on all the Remi Bader lore, and later, we'll discuss not just why people are mad, but also, do they have any right to be? And we're back. So, Remi Bader. Remi Bader is a New York City influencer who recently went on Khloe Kardashian's podcast called Khloe in Wonderland. And on that podcast, she revealed that she underwent a weight loss surgery. So we'll get more into what exactly the procedure is, but this surgery got Remi a huge profile on self.com and a lot of backlash because up until around 2023, Remi was, according to anyone you ask, a body positive influencer. But in the time since, there's been this rising anger amongst her followers and also her snarkers, this bubbling under the surface, kind of waiting for a moment like this for everyone who follows her, everyone who knows about her, everyone who's been on Reddit. They've been waiting for this moment so they can kind of finally unleash.
And I've been familiar with Remi Bader because her name is constantly brought up on the NYC Influencer Snark subreddit. But I feel like now is a good time to give a breakdown of who she is, her lore, where she came from, and how her internet fame turned into hate seemingly not overnight.
Yeah, so let's start just here. So Remi Bader, she's a 30-year-old influencer and model born and raised in Manhattan. In 2020, she started posting basically these realistic clothing hauls on TikTok.
And who knew that Remi Bader would outlast Nasty Gal in relevancy?
Right. And she was making a good point that as sort of a curvy plus size model, as just a woman with a body that isn't straight size, the clothes that look good on influencers and typical models were probably not going to look the same on a body like hers. And also, like, when they were designed, the designer probably wasn't thinking of a body like hers. And so there was this like wall breaking transparency that she was bringing in to the fashion space. It was cheeky and informative and probably pretty validating for a lot of women who were watching this, who were not influencers and not these stick-thin models. They needed a person like Remi to kind of speak to this issue and to see, like, no, I'm not crazy. This is ridiculous.
Yeah. And I do remember watching these videos because she would also recreate celebrity outfits from like Sophia Richie and Hailey Bieber, but for a size 16 woman. I do eat this type of content up because it did contribute to the is she fashionable or just skinny conversation. But how quickly did her content go from realistic hauls to weight loss or body positivity content?
So you could argue that that was always kind of an inherent part of her conversation, whether it was out loud or just in the subtext of her videos. For example, in 2020, someone commented on her video saying, "Since when is size 14 plus size?" And this was Remi's response to that.
I think a lot of plus size people get offended by this, saying, you're not plus size, why are you posting that you're plus size? This is the thing, like, I don't care. Like, I literally, like, I don't care if I'm plus size, mid size, like, whatever I'm considered or whatever you guys want to consider me, that's awesome. I'm not offended by either way. I'm happy to be considered plus size, mid size, like, all these, like, new names have come up, and, like, curvy, like, who knows? Like, I am what I am. Like, you are what you are. If you get offended by this, like, maybe don't watch my videos. But, like, I'm happy with whatever you want to consider me. Like, I'm just going to keep doing what I'm doing and hope that you guys enjoy it.
So there's a lot here. I'll start with the part where she says, I don't care if I'm plus size, mid size, whatever you guys want to consider me. That's awesome.
Yeah, and she couples that with, if you're offended by that, maybe don't watch my videos.
Yeah, and these are two things that I feel like have come around to the present controversy because she is right that in 2020 there were so many labels around body positivity that weren't quantifiable by like numbers and sizes, or they were always changing what those numbers were into which category. But I also sense that she was putting a lot of control of her image and her perception into the hands of her audience, that she was kind of letting her followers dictate her social media value because at the time she was providing a service essentially. Not only was she doing hauls and providing information, she was also broadcasting confidence as a plus-size woman who was tracking her journey as a curve model. That, I completely admit, kind of hit me too, and I was kind of like into what she was saying.
Yeah, it hit a lot of people and it also hit brands. Like, however people feel about Remi Bader now, during this work, she was with Revolve and she helped expand their size chart up to 4X. When Victoria's Secret was expanding their size chart, she was partnering with them. She's absolutely been like an effective advocate for this space.
Yeah, and so when do we think it turned negative? Like, when did her fans become her aggressors?
So earlier than I thought. It's by like December 2020. She has more than 200,000 followers. And then in 2021, she starts talking about binge eating and how she's seen multiple dietitians and food therapists and cognitive behavior therapists. But she also starts posting more lifestyle content that's purposefully meant to be funny. I'll give one example. This is her showing off her nails.
Hey guys, I feel like we didn't get to appreciate my nails in the last video and I spent an absurd amount of money on them. So let's just look. Hearts for Valentine's Day. L is for the way you look at my nails.
So I do notice something, which is that the way she talks to her audience is a little different. She's kind of just saying whatever comes to her mind. There's no haul, there's no script. But also, I'm going to say it. All right, this clip reminds me of a slightly annoying online friend who like makes random references at the group dinner and you're just like, okay.
That is such a thing that I found has seeped into people. I'm like, you're talking to me like you're talking to your phone. This is like for an audience, and for some reason that audience isn't me. And you've hit on probably one of Remi's most simmering, long-standing critiques from her followers, which is that over time, unfortunately, to some people, she has become annoying. And this word can have misogynistic connotations, like the way that men call women shrill. And I think her humor is just a byproduct of who and what was getting TikTok famous at that time. Like, this is like OG TikTok influencer. But also, as she became a lifestyle influencer, her voice became a byproduct of that sort of influencer culture, that very sharp, biting commentary that can come off as harsher and authentic when the person saying it, used to be known as a softer, confidence-boosting, relatable older sister.
And despite this lifestyle content, however, her weight has always been front and center of the conversation amongst her followers. It's what people show up to comment about. It's why she's appearing on NYC Influencer Snark.
Right. So Remi bursts onto the scene making these realistic haul videos. Then that turns into lifestyle content and being more of an NYC influencer girly. And then over the past year and a half, Remi starts rapidly losing weight. And this is something, normally you're not really commenting on other people's bodies, observing what's happening, not your business. But because of Remi's content, her followers clocked it immediately. So not only were they feeling kind of deceived, they were also feeling somewhat betrayed because this person who, in their mind, had been the face of plus-size body positivity, this person was now changing their body. And if they were changing their body, what did that mean? How did they feel? Who was this person they had been following?
And finally, last month, Remi comes clean. She tells fans what's really been going on behind the scenes, and it's even more jarring and invasive than what people thought. But before we get there, let's take a break. When we come back, we'll break down Remi's big reveal as well as the backlash and what, if anything, she owes her audience.
Hey there! If you love our podcast, then maybe you should consider subscribing to Slate Plus to immediately unlock bonus episodes. Plus, you'll access ad-free listening across all your favorite Slate podcasts, including bi-weekly bonus episodes of our show. Subscribe now on Apple Podcasts by clicking Try Free at the top of our show page. Or visit slate.com/ICYMI Plus to get access wherever you listen. And we're back. So, on March 26th, Remi reveals via Khloe Kardashian's podcast that she underwent a very specific, lesser-known kind of weight loss surgery called single anastomosis duodenal ileal bypass with sleeve gastrectomy. Basically, it's a gastric sleeve plus a surgery that, without getting too graphic, kind of reorganizes how your intestines connect to your stomach and basically makes it so that your body has less time to absorb fat and calories.
Yeah, and if it sounds invasive, it kind of is. I mean, according to some clinics, this is pretty much a last resort surgery because it is so intense. And Remi later revealed just how many things she tried before landing on this. She told Self magazine that she tried Ozempic and Mounjaro, but they made her sick. She tried an oral weight loss medication, a 6-week outpatient program for eating disorders, but she wasn't seeing success. And meanwhile, her health was declining as a direct result of her weight. Doctors told her that her fertility was suffering, that her heart health was declining, but most of this was kept from her followers.
Yeah, and this brings us to, I think, the first piece of backlash we can address, which is this idea that as a plus-size influencer, Remi Bader betrayed or lied to her audience by getting this surgery. But there's a reason we didn't hear about any of this, because in 2023, and it's still her pinned video on TikTok, she told her followers that she would no longer be sharing information about her health.
My health journey will now be my business. What I choose to do, whether that's gain or lose weight, medications I take, supplements I take, my workout routine, whatever it is, I'm not going to share.
This TikTok came on the heels of an As Told To in the cut. She says that she, quote, never asked to be the face of a movement and that she doesn't, quote, like being called body positive. And to be fair, she did start this, leave me out of the body positivity narrative as early as 2022, when the title of her Call Her Daddy episode is literally called Don't Call Me Body Positive.
So really, this idea that she's this body positivity influencer who changed her mind, that didn't come from her. It was other people, and outlets like People.com and Allure were the ones calling her these things, and her viewers were maybe the people who saw her as a symbol of something that she very clearly is saying she does not want to be.
Yeah. And it's hard, though, because while she may not have referred to herself this way, her early try-on videos, her work expanding brands and their size charts, these things would reasonably have you conclude that plus-size advocacy is part of her platform. But this also made her body unreasonably fair game for her audience to comment on.
Right. It's like because she chose to start making content by highlighting how brand sizing is inaccessible, some people have taken that as carte blanche to just talk about her body, criticize her body anytime it changes or anytime it isn't the size and shape that they think it should be.
Mm-hmm. People were saying that they wouldn't have been upset if she had just clued them in, if she had brought them along with her through the journey and her surgery and her recovery, which she says was rough.
Yes, this is another complaint, and I think people absolutely would have still been upset. Mm-hmm. People would have felt betrayed no matter what time she told them. They'd still have criticisms of her choices. I could totally see someone being like, oh my gosh, you're promoting this surgery that's so invasive, Only the thing is, Remi would be reading that feedback, and instead of reading it now when she's had time to process from the surgery, she would be reading it when she was still in the thick of what she says in sort of a follow-up video she made. She says it was a very dark time for her. She was very vulnerable. She mentioned in this video that had she updated her followers in real time, she would not have been able to handle their feedback. She literally said she wasn't sure if she had done that, if she would have made it here, because, it's a sensitive subject and it's a vulnerable time, and people already felt that they could comment on her body, and now with this surgery in the mix and the emotions it was kicking up for her, she didn't need any other noise.
Mm-hmm. And then we come to another complaint people have, which was that Remi allegedly blocked or deleted or denied comments about weight loss surgery up until the reveal.
Yeah, this is the thing. If you do scroll back on her videos for like the past year pre this announcement, I'm not sure what people are saying got deleted because they're still riddled with comments that were posted before this surgery with people saying like, come on, tell us what you've done, all this stuff. Like they've been hounding her. But people are saying that they were kind of vilified, blocked, deleted for asking these questions. And then, they're seeing Remi now be like, actually, yes, here's me on Khloe Kardashian's podcast.
But Remi addressed this too, commenting on a recent video, quote, "I've had about 20 words hidden the past year and a half that were triggering to me. No comments have ever been deleted. I just hid all of those words, which hid the comments."
Yeah. And here's the thing, hot take. If she did delete comments, lie, say she didn't do it, and then come out with this later, I don't care. I didn't consume Remi's content. I still don't really consume it. But from this objective remove, what I'm seeing, maybe because I don't have that emotional investment in her, I see someone who got famous because of her body, which suddenly meant her body became the subject of snark and trolling in a way that I don't think happens for influencers who aren't explicitly like body advocate creators. So then she spent years being like, actually, I don't want to be known for that because I hate this. She comes out and says, I'm having trouble loving my body. I should not represent this. And then she sort of says, in 2023, that she wants to keep her health private. That's like the boundary she needs moving forward. And so she went ahead and she did just that. She handled her health in private. She never actually needed to say anything if she didn't want to.
But people's anger is real. I think if you're having feelings of betrayal because of this, that's totally valid. But I think that's a reason to look inward and figure out why it's bringing up that emotion instead of putting the blame on Remi. I will say, the second, Kate, that you said that she is someone who got famous because of her body, my mind immediately went to Emily Ratajkowski, who literally wrote a book called My Body. And the difference here is that Emily is a model, but like stick thin, has always been known for like her, I'm just going to say it, gorgeous boobs and ass and, abs and all that stuff. But she's also complaining that she isn't taken seriously because she's so beautiful, so thin, that people don't see her as like an intellectual. That's why she's writing this book. And she got so much backlash for that too. And so when we talk about like where this anger is coming from, I think it's just the materialization of people realizing women literally cannot do anything. We cannot be happy if we're M. Rada. We can't be happy if we're Remi Bader. We are stuck in the system where all doors lead to just this type of hate, whether it's internal, external, and we're just trapped. Yeah. And I get the frustration, but it's the fact that it is Remi Bader who may be getting some of that residue, Yeah.
Yeah. And I think especially celebrities doing this in the public eye, like you mentioned, like whether you're sort of an M. Rada figure or a Remi Bader figure, you occupy this weird space in people's perception of themselves. So a writer named Michaela Jameson, she wrote a really good essay about this in her newsletter called Body Type. She tries to get to the bottom of this question of like, what is the thing that people are mad about? Because it's hard to believe that people are really just mad about the quote unquote transparency. There's clearly something else behind this. And her take is that people rely on the bodies and behaviors of celebrities to inform their feelings about themselves. So, seeing your body represented by Remi, especially in a world like NYC influencing, where the average influencer is, stick thin, blonde hair. But to see someone like Remi in those spaces and be accepted, it can make you feel more secure in yourself. But as Michaela writes, quote, "There's nothing wrong with being pleased by representation of bodies that look like yours or taking cues from others about how to feel better. These things have to be a supplement, though, to the real work of feeling good in and about your body, identifying your own values and acting accordingly."
And if Remi is making it hard for you to do that, that is what the unfollow button is there for. I mean, even talking about that video we played all the way at the top about how, like, if you don't want to watch Remi's content, she told you that, like, you literally can unfollow her. You can even block her. It is okay for an influencer to not mean the same things to you anymore or to change their content, but it saves you both stress to just part ways.
Yeah, you know what? The let them theory comes to mind to me, Candice.
Here we go.
I'm sorry, I've been infected.
I know. You're the YouTube recommended page in real life. But yeah, this is exactly what Mel Robbins meant. If your favorite body positive influencer gets weight loss surgery for the sake of their mental and physical health, let them. Okay, that's the show. We'll be back in your feed on Saturday, so definitely subscribe. That way, you never miss an episode. Leave us a rating and a review in Apple or Spotify, and tell your friends about us. You can follow us on Twitter at ICYMI_pod, and you can always drop us a note at ICYMI@slate.com.
ICYMI is produced by Olivia Briley, Candice Lim, and me, Kate Lindsay. Daisy Rosario is our senior supervising producer, and Hillary Fry is Slate's editor-in-chief. See you online.
Or on the all-influencer Blue Origin trip.